Welcome back, everybody. Let's just keep it moving here. So, the next feature that I want to add before I go to actually launch my app is App Store ratings. This is something, again, that we don't need to add, but improving your app's ranking on the App Store will dramatically help your app become successful. A large problem when you launch a new app is that nobody can find it. And so, App Store optimization, there's an entire school of thought around App Store optimization, but one of the best things that you can do to improve your app's ranking in the App Store is to improve your app's rating. So if your app starts getting a lot of really good positive reviews, then Apple will put it higher in the search results in the App Store. So it's often a good idea to also ask your users if they want to leave a review, hopefully a 5-star review for your app. So we're going to do this, and we're just going to put this in the settings screen here. We're just going to add a new button. So let's build it out and then let's talk about it real quick. So firstly, we're going to go to the settings view, and on the bottom, we have the application section. So in the application section, let's just go ahead and open up the canvas and create a new, let's switch to our mock build. Let's get our preview working, and let's create a new button that just says add app store review. And actually, before we do, I'm noticing that we have a contact us button that we never set up the logic for. Let's do that real quick. Come down here. Let's create a private func called on contact us pressed. We'll say let email equals, and I'm just going to add in hello at swiftful-thinking.com. I will say let email string equals, this is a special string. I'm going to do mail to with a colon, and then I'll put in the email. And then inside the operating system, we can open up the email app on the iPhone. So we'll say guard let URL equals URL from the string, the email string. And we'll also check that the UI application .shared .can open this URL. We'll check that it can open the URL. We'll say else, let's just return. And then we'll say UI application, share, open the URL. Let's go ahead and make this on contact us pressed. Let's add in an analytic for that, case contact us pressed. And we'll add it down here as well. Settings view, contact us pressed. Let's trigger the analytic, log manager dot track event dot on contact us pressed. I'll switch to my development build and see if it works. Let's switch into the settings and then click it. And I click it and we can see that contact us did get pressed, but it did not open. I'm pretty sure that this just does not work in the simulator, but if we built this to an actual device, it should open the email app. And if it doesn't, you guys can yell at me and we can debug it later. But let's just move on here. That's not what this video is about. Up here, let's create another button. So I'm going to copy the contact us button. I'll paste another one here, and let's just say rate us on the App Store. And so when a user clicks this, we will pop up the App Store ratings modal. Let's change out the contact us. Let's start with the basic implementation of the App Store ratings. So I'm going to come to Swiftful Utilities and just update the package quick. I've made some updates to this since we launched the course. I added in the ratings section here. So you guys can also, again, if you don't want to use the utilities, this is literally all of the code. It's just getting the app seen and then appstore.request review, and that will trigger the ratings pop-up. So in here, let's go ahead and import Swiftful Utilities. And then let's do a function at the bottom that says private func on ratings button pressed. And we'll call App Store ratings helper dot request ratings review. Let's also add in an analytic for this case ratings pressed. And let's go ahead and make this the ratings pressed. Settings view ratings pressed. Let's go ahead and trigger it down here. We'll say log manager track event.ratings pressed. Let's go ahead and call on ratings button pressed. Let's build it to a simulator. And if all works, we should now get the ratings pop up. It should be working, but we are not done yet with the ratings feature. Let's jump in here, click on it, and enjoying AI chat. Tap to leave a ratings review. Awesome. Now this is good. This is what we built so far, but I want to talk about this. So there's a couple things that we need to know about the ratings prompt. Firstly is Apple limits us how often we can show this prompt to the user. You can imagine that if you showed this every single time the user launches the app, that would get really annoying, especially if the user already rated your app. So we are limited to only displaying this to a user 3 times per year. That's approximately the amount. I don't know if it has changed, but even if this pops up and the user clicks not now, we can only display it 3 times to the user throughout the year. So we have very few chances to really get the user to give us a good review. So there's a couple things that we want to highlight here. Firstly is, if we recently shown this to the user, we should probably some time before showing it again. Now, right now, this is just a button on our settings view, but very well, we might not want a button here, and we might want to just trigger this review automatically as the user is using our app. We might want to find a place, if the user is chatting for a while they're having a great session, we trigger this automatically. So we might want to be strategic with when we show it rather than just having it be a button in the settings. And then secondly, we also want to avoid showing this and getting really bad ratings. So if you show this prompt too early, the user might not like your app yet, and they might just give it a 1-star review, and that could actually hurt you. So you might want to add logic rather than just showing it in your settings, but showing it when you have confirmation that the user is liking your app. So for example, if the user has a lot of chats, if the user has been using your app every day, if the user has made a bunch of custom avatars, if they are paying premium user, if they've been a user for more than a month and they're still coming back, these could all be really good signals that they would give us a good app rating. So we could change this logic rather than just showing a button here. We could have logic saying, maybe on the home screen, trigger this modal if the user has been a user for 5 days and they have created 10 different chats and 3 avatars and they're premium. And then we can assume and hope that they'll give us a really good rating. So you might want to put some logic around when we are going to actually display this. Now, the last solution that we're going to build out here is actually when the users click this button, before we go and show them this rating modal, this is the one that comes from the operating system. We're going to build out a custom modal in our app, and we're first going to ask the user if they're enjoying our app. So this way we can also not show this if the user is not enjoying our app, because we really don't want bad ratings in our app. But also, if it's our custom modal, we can display it as many times as we want because we have full control over it. So this is working, but let's go ahead and build out a custom modal now. I'm going to come up to our reusable components section. In our modal section, let's go ahead and right click and create let's do a new file from template, a SwiftUI view, and I'm going to call this a custom modal view. And we're going to make it reusable so that we can have several different custom modals with the same template. I'm going to move kind of faster here because we've built a ton of UI components already. So at the top, we're going to have a title of type string. I'll just set this as title, and then we'll have a subtitle of type string. I'll make it optional and set it equal to, this is a subtitle. We're going to have 2 buttons on this modal. So we'll have a primary button and a secondary button. We'll say var primary button title of type string. I'll set this equal to yes button action. So if they click the primary button, we will have a function that returns void. We'll set it equal to a blank function for now. Let's copy this, and we're going to change primary here to secondary. Secondary title will be no, and then secondary button action as well. Let's let our preview load, and then let's start building out the UI. All right, it's going to be a modal, so let's go ahead and put it on like a fake black background, color.black, ignore safe area, and let's build out our modal. So we're going to have a VStack spacing of 32. The top will have another VStack with spacing of 12. We'll say text with the title, as well as if let subtitle, we'll put the text with the subtitle. Below that VStack, we'll have another VStack with our buttons. This one will have spacing of 8. We'll have text that says the primary button title, and also text that has the secondary button title. On the entire thing, let's give it a background of color. Let's use the UI color system background, and we'll give it a corner radius of 16. And we'll push it off the edges of the device with padding of 40. Let's see how that looks. All right, the title will have a font of title 3, and we'll give it a font weight of semi-bold. Subtitle will do a font of callout and a font foreground style of secondary so that it's gray. Let's give this a little bit of padding, maybe 12 to push it off the edges of the modal. The primary button, we're going to give this a background of, let's do our .accent color. And let's give it a foreground style of, let's use the .white so that we always have a pink background or a pinkish background and a white text. Let's go ahead and give this a frame with a max width of infinity, as well as padding. Let's go vertical of 12 so that it is a little bit bigger. Cool. On that, we'll give it a corner radius of 16 to match the corner radius of the background. And then we will cast this as any button with the .pressed. And the action will be the primary button action. The secondary button, we'll give this a font of headline, and we'll give this a foreground style of secondary. So hopefully the user does not click this. We'll also give this a frame with a max width of infinity, and we'll also add padding of vertical of 12. This time, let's add a tappable background, and we'll do as any button. But this time, let's do the plain with the secondary button action. Now, outside this whole thing before the background, let's give it an additional padding of 16, and we'll make all of it have multi-line text alignment of center. That looks pretty good. So we have a custom modal here. So now I should be able to actually fully customize this. Let's go ahead and create for the preview. Option Enter, triple click, Control M. Let's make the title here, Are You Enjoying AI Chat? And we'll make the subtitle, We'd Love to Hear Your Feedback. And the primary button will say yes. The action will just leave blank for now. The secondary button will say no, and the action we can leave blank for now as well. All right, maybe I put a little too much spacing here. Let's move this down to 24. Cool. Are you enjoying AI chat? We'd love to hear your feedback. And then the user is going to click yes or no. Obviously, this modal is not the most beautiful thing in the world, but we are just doing an example here of we can show this modal as many times as we want. And then if the user clicks yes here, then we'll go and show our actual ratings modal. This way, if the user clicks no, we can just log that. We know they're going to give us a bad rating anyway, and we never show them the actual App Store rating prompt. So let's go ahead and implement this now. I will copy this code from this custom modal view implementation. Let's jump into our settings view. And we're going to need to add a show modal. Let's create up here an @state private var show ratings modal of type bool equals false. Let's bind to the show ratings modal, and we'll add in our content here. Let's create a private var called ratings modal that is of type SomeView, and we'll paste this in here, and we'll put that in here. Let's add in some actions for these. So down here, when we have our on ratings button pressed. We're also going to have let's do on enjoying app yes pressed, and we'll do on enjoying app no pressed. So now let's change our analytics. Case ratings yes pressed, case ratings no pressed. And we will copy and paste this. Ratings yes, ratings no. Ratings yes, ratings no. And then let's go ahead and come down here, and now let's trigger our analytics. Ratings yes, trigger one here, ratings no. And let's only request a review if the ratings yes is pressed. So when we click the button, we're going to say show ratings modal equals true. Let's come back up to our code, and on primary button, we'll say yes pressed. On enjoying app yes pressed. On enjoying app no pressed. So if I click the button now, we get our modal. If I click no, nothing should happen. So actually we should dismiss the modal. Let's jump down and finish that. No, we'll say show ratings modal equals false. Let's do that for both of these. Let's get this to work. Click it. No, perfect. Click it. Yes. And then ratings should appear. Awesome. So that's just one example of how we can start to optimize our actual rating feedback. So if the user's already not enjoying our app, we don't want them to leave a bad review, but we do want to find the users that are enjoying our app and have them give us a positive review. Again, we are just putting a button in the settings screen. That might be a good V1 solution, but chances are users are not going to go into your settings and click this button. So you're probably going to want to put maybe like on the home screen or on the chat screen, some logic, like if the user has been coming back to your app and using your app a lot, maybe on day 2, day 3, day 5, you automatically trigger that modal on the home screen. So this way, roughly all of your good users will get the modal automatically, because very few users are actually just going to come into settings and click this button. All right, that's all for this video. Hope you enjoyed this one. We created a reusable modal that we will use again in the next video. And we talked a little bit about some semi-hacky solutions on how we can improve our App Store rating and really customize the user experience for our app. Let's go ahead and Option Command C. I'll call this a feature, and we'll say add App Store ratings logic. Let's stage it. Let's commit it. Push it on up to GitHub, and I'll see y'all in the next video.